right, we are on to lumbar rehab phase 2, okay? So these ones should not be intensely difficult. They're gonna build on what we did in the first phase, and I'd still like you to perform some of those things you've done in the first phase, because those are still gonna be really good for us. Anyways, what's new is what we're gonna go over now. The first one is something that not many people have an understanding of in our world, and it's a pelvic tilt. I want you to perform it in both ways. With the knees bent, it's gonna be easier. With the legs extended, it's gonna be harder, okay? But all we're doing is the bracing of our core muscle is one that we can engage really well with this exercise. Then when you go to bend over to pick something up off the ground or to reach for something out of a dishwasher, it's gonna make it harder to hurt your low back when this muscle is more engaged or involved, okay? So we'll start with the knees bent. You are going to put your hand underneath your low back, and this is just for the first couple reps. And I want you to bring your belly button to your low back. So what you notice is you probably saw a shortening or a tightening of my core, and that's exactly what we're looking for. Once you feel it a couple times, you're like, okay, I get it. So we let the belly come up, and then it drops down. And that's gonna be a position that we wanna hold when we do things like a dead bug or a glute bridge, simple things like that, okay? So that pelvic tilt is something I want you to hold for about 2 or 3 seconds and let it go. Hold again, 2 or 3 seconds, and let it go, okay? That one should be simple, but different. The next one we're gonna do is a piriformis figure 4 stretch, which is one I always had a hard time with growing up. So if you have a hard time with it, I will show you a variation. But all we're gonna do is bend one leg over our knee, grab the hamstring on the other side, and you're gonna pull towards your chest. You should feel it all in your piriformis, but it's gonna be throughout your entire glute muscles. As long as you feel it in this region, you are doing it correctly, okay? Now, this one can be really tight on people, so as you do it, don't pull too hard. And make sure you breathe with all these exercises. As you're stretching, the more breathing that you can do while you do it, the more vagal nerve stimulation that you'll get, which is really good for all the other things about your nervous system. If you don't know what that is, you can look it up or come to our health class. I'm not gonna go into it right now. All right, and then you'd obviously do it on the other side, same way, okay? Now, if you have difficulty with that one, how we can vary it, so we're gonna cross it over. I'm not gonna cross it over all the way because it will feel similar to there. I'm gonna have it bent and I'm gonna bring my knee towards my chest. So you'll notice that instead of being horizontal, I'm gonna let it come down at an angle. It's gonna get a better stretch on this muscle here. I'm gonna lift my chest up. If I am down, you're not gonna feel nearly as much. It's chest up and over. And then you're gonna feel that muscle pull, 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 okay? Now you could go ahead and do it and hold for 30 seconds. Or what I like to do, I'll go hold for 5, kind of pushing, 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 and back off. Go, hold for 5, push, 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 and back off. Good, push, 5 seconds, and back off. So in theory, in about 15 seconds, I go to the other side, do that same thing. Pretending these are 5-second reps I'm going through. Good, and then I go to the other side. And I try to do that twice each way, and it'll be plenty for me, okay? I don't have especially tight glutes. If that's intense for you, it's probably gonna be, okay? The next ones are also on the floor. This one is building up off of the double leg hip bridge. We're doing a single leg hip bridge. You can extend this leg, you can leave this leg here. Doesn't matter too much to me. One's more challenging on the core if you extend all the way out. But again, my knees or my heels are just kind of close to my glutes. They're not really far away. It's gonna make it harder. My arms just by my sides. I have to make sure my shoulders are touching the ground, otherwise we're gonna have issues. Whichever leg you wanna use, go ahead and lift. And again, we're gonna hold for a second, back down, lift up, relax. And I'm gonna keep that engagement in that hamstring glute the entire time. I don't wanna get to the bottom and like fully relax. I wanna feel supported. So even when I'm down, I'm still driving my heel into the ground so that as I lift again, it's ready to go. It's not like it has to jolt up and figure itself out, which might be confusing, but I'm gonna explain that again. As I lift, I want to feel this muscle holding and supporting. As I come back down, I'm going to keep tension in that area. I'm not going to let it fully relax and then lift myself up again. I want to get used to this muscle supporting my low back, my hips, really my body weight in a comfortable way so that those muscles don't feel weak and tired, which I lovely did a leg day before I did this, so I felt that a little bit. I'd go back and forth each side. Again, usually doing about 3 sets of each of them, 8 reps. If that's too much for you, back off. None of these recommendations are spot on how I'd like you to do them. I just want to make sure you move, but do it in a way that isn't overwhelming to yourself, wherever you're at, okay? The next one is the dead bug progression 4, and this comes back to be perfect with that pelvic tilt exercise. We're going to intertwine it. Belly button to the floor. I should feel my whole low back engage onto the floor. Now I'm going to lift my legs up, arms go up, and instead of the progression 3, where we have this happen, where this leg stays bent going down, we are going to be fully extending. Notice how as I go down, that doesn't happen, right? That's going to hurt my low back, so I have to keep this tension here. Keep it connected to the low ground, or to the ground the entire time. Just like that. Should be a really nice core exercise, but it should also be empowering. You should make you feel strong, and you should feel some engagement. All right, so that is those. Those are those. The next one that we're gonna do is a modified side plank. There are so many ways to perform modified side plank. Normal side plank, all the way up in a position like this. We're gonna do it on our elbows here. The one in the picture that you have is like this, where you have this left leg out and this right knee touching. The way that I like to do it is I'll really just do the knee like that, and that should be plenty good for most of you here, okay? The muscles on the sides of our low back and our rib cage support the way that our pelvis interacts with our low back and rib cage. So it's gonna help you walk better, breathe better, you're gonna be more supported, you're not gonna have as much low back pain. This is a great exercise, one of my favorites. Again, do it for a moment, switch to the other side. Make sure that your hips, knees, shoulders, elbows are all in line. It's not a big lift, because it's only this much length to really get up. And you might notice one side's a little bit harder. So if it is harder, perform that side a couple more times. Really simple. All right, the last one is a hip flexor stretch. And I'm gonna give you 3 ways to perform this one, okay? The first one is kneeling like this. We wanna feel it all through the leg that is down. I don't wanna feel it in this leg. The other part of that is most people, as they've done this, they have too much extension in their low back and they fall forward. So it looks like I'm super flexible right now, but I'm doing 0 stretching, nothing at all. So what I'm gonna do is that same idea, that tuck to the pelvis like we were doing before to get our low back to the ground. I'm gonna tuck my pelvis forward. I haven't even moved yet, and I feel my entire muscle being lengthened right now. I'm gonna drive just straight forward, and that's enough for me. I could feel it pulling like hell, very intense. I might even back off a little bit, because I don't wanna do too much. I'm not trying to injure anything. But there's a lot of people that stretch and they're like, look at all this motion I get. That's mobility, that's not stretching. So to get a muscle to actually change, we need to do something more specific to that muscle and not something that incorporates so many other muscles. So again, tuck the pelvis, forward slightly, should be plenty, all right? Pro tip, if you wanna do work on your hamstring while you're here, put your leg out, hinge into it, and you can get a nice stretch and engagement actually of the hamstring in the same position. I'm not just gonna stretch and hold, I actually wanna use that muscle at the same time. All right. The last one that I may have taught some of you before, anyways, it's gonna be a different way to get into your hip flexor, incorporate some breathing, and it's actually the main way that I do it. We go into a split stance, so I have one leg forward, one leg back. They are not super far away, they're pretty straight like this. And what we're gonna do is I'm gonna put the hands above my head. Interlock my fingers like this. And if I'm doing my left side, I am going to think about extending backwards and leaning to the right to get this whole chain of muscles from my rib cage to my lat, to my hip flexor, even to my shin, to start to lengthen. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start to move my toes, or this left ankle joint, up and down. So you may have heard of fascia before, but this is going to stretch entire fascial lines, which is more effective than stretching one muscle. This is what I prefer to do. After going foot up and down a few times, I'll go to the bottom, find tension, breathe into it. Cool. All the way up. It's going to be a different spot usually when you go up on your toes. Breathe into it. Awesome. I'm going to go the other way. Same thing. If I'm trying to stretch my right hip flexor, I'm going to extend just like the left, but I'm going to go to the left to open up the right this time. Great. Toes, the only thing that moves. The entire my body is still except that right ankle joint. I'm just trying to open up this entire chain of musculature. And then I'm going to get to the top. Yep, right into that spot every time. Down. And then when I do it that time, I feel it higher up in my core. So you might notice that it's different for you, but there's different ways to stretch the hip flexors. The important thing is that most people do it in the wrong way. That doesn't get results that we actually want to get done. So if you're having issues or you feel like you're not feeling any of these exercises, please let me know and we'll dive into it because you absolutely should, and they can be game changers for you. Okay? Thank you. Let me know if you have problems.